let's just jump right into this explainer because today we're unpacking something truly fascinating. We are diving into the surprisingly complex engineering hidden inside India's traditional wooden bullock carts, a heritage that's sadly fading away. It is so easy to just glance at one of these and see a simple, maybe outdated mode of transport. But as we'll uncover in our source material today, there is a profound level of architectural genius and deep engineering wisdom at play here, and it's on the verge of disappearing forever. To really wrap our heads around this craft, we actually have to start our story well before sunrise. Picture a quiet farming village near Nagar, fields stretching all the way to the horizon. It's pitch black, but a small woodworking shed is already echoing with the sounds of chisels and handsaws. This is where we meet our main subject, an 84-year-old artisan named Ratan Singh. Every single morning, just like he has done for decades, he unlocks his workshop while the rest of the world is still fast asleep. Ratan has this deep, almost spiritual connection to his materials. He actually says, "A cart begins with a tree that learned to stand firm." Now, that sounds like poetry, right? But it's actually a structural assessment. Before making a single cut, he physically taps each seasoned plank of neem and babul wood. He is listening for a tight, high resonance. It's an acoustic giveaway that the wood grain is dense enough to become the foundation of a heavy-duty cart, so he is literally letting the wood tell him if it has the internal strength required for the job. How cool is that? Section 1. The Last Cart Maker. 67. That is the staggering number of consecutive years Ratan has spent building these incredibly sturdy wooden vessels. I mean, just think about that level of mastery for a second. For nearly 7 decades, he has been the architect behind carts that have carried countless journeys across dusty, brutal village roads. But, well, the landscape is shifting today. Tractors and trucks have mostly replaced them, which makes Ratan one of the very last living masters of this specific craft in India. Moving on to Section 2, Traditional Woodworking Secrets. Okay, so let's break down these woodworking techniques because this whole process relies on absolutely zero printed blueprints. None. Step 1, as we mentioned, is selecting that seasoned wood entirely by sound. Step 2 involves shaping the massive axle and the intricate wheels completely from memory. He marks angles with a simple piece of chalk, no modern 3D modeling software anywhere in sight. And then step 3 is where the engineering truly shines. He tightens joints using traditional, nail-free techniques. Instead of metal fasteners that are just going to rust or snap under pressure, Ratan uses highly precise mortise and tenon joinery. He relies entirely on the natural expansion of the wood and immense friction to lock the structure together. That is what makes it strong enough to carry literal tons of weight over terrible terrain. And for Ratan, these traditional techniques are absolutely non-negotiable. As he puts it, tradition should never be made halfway. In fact, a local village museum recently commissioned him to build one final traditional cart for a display, but he didn't take the easy route. Instead of building some fragile decorative museum exhibit, he constructed the whole thing exactly as if it were heading out to plow heavy fields the very next morning. To him, the technique is the entire point. You simply can't fake it. Which brings us to Section 3, the hidden engineering. So here we get introduced to Deepak. He's a young carpenter who learned his trade mostly from watching modern online videos, and he really serves as our window into the actual physics of this craft. See, Deepak walked into the shed with a pretty common expectation. He thought he'd just be building a simple, basic wooden box on wheels. But the reality? It was a masterclass in remarkable engineering, precise weight distribution, and perfect alignment. He was immediately blown away by Ratan's complex, intuitive grasp of physics. Let's unpack Ratan's engineering wisdom here, because these 3 principles are everything. First, Ratan teaches his apprentice that masterful balance and precise weight distribution are non-negotiable. If that center of gravity is off even slightly, it places uneven downward force on the oxen, which exhausts them instantly and makes the whole cart completely useless. And then there's perfect wheel alignment. Ratan masters this completely by hand. No lasers, no computers. He just knows that if the alignment is off by a fraction of an inch, the resulting lateral friction will literally chew right through the wooden axle. Mastering these concepts is the only way to guarantee a cart survives decades of punishing use. All of this precision is driven by a fundamental rule passed down from Ratan's grandfather. Wood always tells the truth. Basically, it means you can't fake good engineering. The physical integrity of the materials, combined with the honest, precise joinery of the carpenter, dictates the absolute success or failure of the cart. If you try to cut corners or miscalculate that weight distribution, the wood is going to instantly reveal your mistake the second it's put under pressure. Section 4, Wheels that carry generations. So, why does all this incredible technical mastery matter? Because it connects back to a profound human impact. These carts were the absolute backbone of village life. In the source material, villagers recall these specific wheels bringing home their very first harvest from the fields. They talk about how they carried beautifully decorated wedding processions through the town and seated laughing children for long school trips. So these perfectly engineered wheels weren't just carrying physical weight, they were carrying the milestones and the memories of the entire community. Section 5. Passing the torch. To mark the completion of the museum's cart, the village actually holds this vibrant, colorful fair. The new cart is unveiled, draped in flowers and cloth, leading the opening procession. It's this wonderful, brief moment where the old days come back to life, with Rotten watching quietly from the crowd. But what happens after the fair is what's truly special. We witness this highly emotional handoff. Rotten takes his most prized traditional tools, his favorite hand plane and a wooden measuring gauge, and he gives these instruments of his engineering mastery to his young apprentice, Deepak, who accepts them with folded hands. And the significance of this moment is really anchored in what Ratan tells Deepak. He says, "These tools built more than carts. They built trust." And honestly, that realization is the absolute core of our explainer today. The rigorous engineering, the flawless nail-free joinery, listening to the resonance of the wood, all of this traditional woodworking ultimately serves a higher human purpose. It builds a reliable legacy. It builds a vessel that a farmer can literally trust his entire livelihood to. As the evening sky turns golden, Ratan closes the workshop doors for the day. He gently places his hand on the wooden wheel of his last cart and delivers these powerful final words. He says, "People think I built bullock carts, but all my life, I built the roads between families, farms, and memories." I mean, what a beautiful summation of a life's work. The complex woodworking was just the method, but human connection was always the ultimate result. Ultimately, the source material leaves us with this lingering, incredibly evocative image. The cart remains motionless beneath a banyan tree, while the sound of oxen bells just fades into the evening breeze. It's this stunning visual finalization of our narrative, quietly signaling an era of traditional craftsmanship that is gently coming to a close. Which leaves me with a final provocative question for you all today. As modern technology replaces traditional crafts, what other hidden engineering brilliance are we at risk of losing forever? We just saw how much undocumented genius and structural wisdom lives in the mind of just one 84-year-old cart maker. It really challenges us to look a lot closer at the traditional handmade crafts around us and to appreciate the masterful, undocumented science we risk losing to the relentless march of modernization. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible source material, and I really hope it makes you look at the engineered world just a little bit differently today.